Hey, nerds. We understand you. Drop those controllers. Lose the wizard hat. And ready your Cheetos. It's time for some hard-hitting talk about the movies, books, and games you love. So get ready, oh searcher of useless knowledge. It's time to step into the Geek Cave. Now, broadcasting from a top secret and totally awesome hidden base, I'm Kent Harris, and here's Darren Wright, Justin White, and Chad Savage.
Welcome to another edition of the best video game adaptation since the last one, Geek Cave Podcast Gaming. I'm Darren.
I'm Justin.
I'm Chad.
Where The Last of Us is in fact a thing on HBO Max, but we still did it better. Why? Because reasons I don't know. I didn't think this far ahead. So,
Commentary.
Yeah. I want to thank our sponsor. I'm sure the show's fine. I haven't seen it yet. Want to thank our sponsor, Shirtosaurus, digging up clothing from the past so you can look rad today with great t-shirt, sweater, and hoodie designs on everything geek chic. Whether you're a fan of old school gaming, anime, 80s cartoons, or you're just weird, find something for you at Shirtosaurus.com. Justin is modeling the Sea of Space Cowboy t-shirt, which is in honor of Cowboy Bebop. And my wife loves the Doctor Who one, and I've got a Magneto Was Right one, and you can find yours at Shirtosaurus.com. Or Gamefly, membership options for every budget, plus gifts for gamers of all ages. Gamefly has thousands of titles to keep as long as you want, and when you're done, just send it back with a postage-paid envelope for a new one, or keep it forever and pay a lot less than in-store prices. Sign up for a free 30-day trial right now using the link at geekcavepodcast.com. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I mean, really, I was just stretching, but thank you for thinking it was modeling.
Okay.
Today's a good day to be a geek.
It's a great day. Yeah, so, eeny, meeny, miny, Chad.
Check it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Demo Derby!
All right, so I played the demo Tuesday morning.
Is that the name of the game? Or is that when you
That's
played
the name of the game, Tuesday morning.
Okay.
I was so excited for this game. I mean, when it starts up, I was playing as a dog.
Ooh.
I was playing as a German Shepherd.
Ooh.
I went from, wow, these graphics are brought to you by 1999 to, cool, I get to play as a dog. The first thing I do is I walk around, and my dog woke up the main character, and I was less excited.
Oh.
After walking around a bit, getting my bearings in the house, I left to get dog food, because that shit's important, and the last thing I grabbed was a giant sword. Now I'm excited again. Giant swords are cool. I want to roam around a big open world with a giant sword and just lay waste to some oppressive regime faceless sons of bitches. Maybe that'll override the thought in the back of my head that says, hey, this camera control's brought to you by 1999. Eventually, I find my way to some faceless SOBs and combat commences. Unfortunately, because the game hasn't yet taught me how to draw my sword, I'm stuck trying to elbow them in their quite good armor. It does not go well for me, and my character dies, and I wake up back in my house at the fire, and I go, oh, they fancy themselves a Soulsborne game. On my way back to the site of my death, I detoured into a bar, found a seat, sat there, and a guy came up and told me a long-ass depressing story about how he drank his wife to death and his kid into prostitution. When he was done, I stood up, and I accidentally pushed the button that sat down again, and you want to guess that this maternal fornicator told me the whole shitting story all over again? Because he did. By the way, this was all done with text.
Of course
no
it was.
voice acting, and I couldn't speed it up.
Oh,
This
Lord.
story delivery method brought to you by 1989. Eventually, I ended up back at my death hallway to find no enemies whatsoever. Apparently, I was supposed to hear that guy's story in order to pass. I find my contact. He gives me some dog food, sends me home. Now I get the combat training. Soulsborne problems begin again. You see, Soulsborne games work because of two things: rhythm and fairness. When you press the attack button, your character doesn't actually attack, it just begins the attack action. You know, there's a timing to it. Except in Tuesday morning, when you begin this attack action, but the enemies don't have to. They can interrupt their attack anytime they want to block yours.
Oh, no.
So instead, you get to wear them down with 4 blocks and then attack twice. Repeat the pattern 4 times, and you've killed your first enemy. Maybe. After all, there are 2 other guys shooting at you at the same time. They're easier to kill, but then the big mamma jamma will come up and execute you. Because we've all learned the wrong lessons from the Soulsborne games. Succeed in dispatching the first wave, and then you get to do it 2 more times to prove you know how. Then you continue down the hallway back to your house, and there's a second tutorial. It's going to teach you how to dodge unblockable attacks. And you'll do it, and then you get to do it 2 more times. Then you're going to get to learn a third way, how to counterattack. 3 waves.
Oh, boy.
And then when you're all done with that, they decide, you know what? Just to make sure that you've really got all this tutorial in your head, we're going to give you, just for you, because we love you, 3 more waves of enemies that are going to mix and match, for all this. And you have to defeat them all while the crew of Spaceball 1 are shooting at you because you know who crews the Spaceball 1. You do all this and finally make it home just to realize that your dog has gone missing, so you shut the thing off and be glad that you didn't spend money on the demo. The map is confusing, the game is ugly, the camera's wonky, the controls are shite, the voice acting's missing, the text-based cutscenes are long and boring with no way to speed them up, enemies are overpowered, the tutorial goes on 2 waves too long 4 times in a row, and I would rather play the goddamn Gundam game than do this again. I deleted it immediately, and I wish I could delete it from my purchase history. If you're nostalgic for the late 90s, may God have mercy on your soul, but for me, not even the demo.
Oh, boy. Careful. Yeah. All right. Chad warned us before we started taping.
Oh, he didn't warn us enough.
No. He said that, do you remember the Fuller House review is what he said.
Oh.
Go back and find that one. Justin's going to be a while. Tell you, before we get to Justin's segment, because he needs a minute, let me tell you what else I've been playing.
Oh, yeah. Cool, man. Hope it's been good.
Oh, it's been good. Starting with Terror of Hemasaurus. You might have heard me talk about this.
Terror of Hemasaurus.
Yeah. It's a Godzilla game.
Cool.
Right? Kind of like in the vein of Rampage. You play as
I loved Rampage.
You play as like a big dinosaur guy or a robot dinosaur guy or a giant sloth.
Makes sense.
Yep. And
I'm down.
The story is the Church of the Holy...
Oh, we don't do that here.
Oh, no. You're going to want to hear this.
Okay, I'm listening.
Oh, and first, an aside. You remember a while back I reviewed a game called Super Blood Hockey?
Oh, yeah.
It was a couple years back, right? And the creator, guy by the name of... I got to find it real quick because I had it. Lauren Lemke. He actually kind of like shared some of our stuff on social media when we talked about it. I thought the music from this game was familiar. Mm-hmm. It's his.
Nice.
No.
He worked on this one as well. But the story, for lack of a better description, Earth is on the brink of a climate catastrophe. And no, that's not just me
Sounds
talking.
fair.
Okay, yeah. And the Church of the
That's a Tuesday morning.
The Church of the... No, Tuesday morning is a different game. The Church of the Holy Lizard...
Church of the Holy... Okay, I've been there.
hatches a plan to save humanity by unleashing
Is that a pun? They hatched the plan?
Yeah.
Is the lizard the plan?
I don't know if that was on purpose, but the plan was to unleash a monster to destroy the world, and thus the world will be like, holy crap, this monster is a result of global warming, and so we'll do something about it. So what follows is basically 30-plus levels of you wrecking stuff and having a good time with it.
See, my favorite part about all this is that it's so damned optimistic.
Yeah.
let's destroy the world so that the world says, hey, we should fix some problems. As though the world would do any such thing.
Oh, there's a subplot where we find out...
We don't do that here.
Spoilers. I'm just going to go ahead and say I recommend you buy it. Right now it's like $9 on Steam.
Right. What is the name of it?
Terror of Hemasaurus. Hema-Saurus. And the subplot is, turns out that the head priest of the Church of the Holy Lizard is actually a guy named, and I'm not making this up, Richie Richardson.
Right.
Who's a wealthy man, and he's going to flee to the moon because, quote, y'all are fucked anyway. And so he's just going to, leave. And that, of course, eventually will lead to Rampage in space. And if you like Rampage, you're going to like this game. If you like Godzilla, you're going to like this game. If you want to play as a giant sloth whose special ability is to meditate and then send shockwaves that wipe out a whole city, play this game. It's $9 on Steam as of this taping.
It's in my Steam wish list as
there
of now.
You go. Well, hey, we're sharing libraries. You can just download it from me, too, if you want.
Even better.
Yeah, because that's what I played it on. It runs perfectly on the Steam Deck as well. All right. From one turn off your brain game to another turn your brain on game, I also played and reviewed Star Ocean: The Last Hope. Another post-apocalyptic game, oddly enough. This one takes place starting in the year 2096 after World War III happened, and we found out that is a bad thing.
So optimistic, they think it'll take that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, humanity resorts to space travel, and they send a bunch of anime kids into space because it's a Japanese RPG. So
I've seen this movie.
Send a bunch of anime kids into space, and something goes wrong, and you end up landing on the planet you're aiming for, but in a different time period.
I've definitely seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you end up fighting giant spiders and whatnot. But then, of course, you jump from planet to planet. It's your typical RPG fare. Some of the characters are great. Some of them, there's a little girl named Limmel, and I'm pretty sure that they gave the little girl who voiced this kid Valium before she actually started voicing it, because every line is, "You're gonna get it, okay?" I mean, it's just like the most... Oh. In fact, wow. Those of you who are listening to us after this episode's gone live, obviously, go back a couple weeks, because there's a Geek Cave Plays on this right now on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
For us sitting around at the time that we're taping it, tomorrow.
No. I've already set a timer to go back in time.
Okay. All right, well, the 21st. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. The combat is fun. It's an action RPG, so it's not like take your time. You take your turn. It's just button mashy, yada yada yada. The characterizations are what they are. But this game was recently given the 4K and HD remaster treatment because it originally came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. And then a few years back, it got the remaster treatment, and it's pretty good. You know, I do recommend it, with a caveat in that there are some characters that you're just not going to want to listen to. Just as soon as they start opening their mouth, either switch it to the Japanese voice dub, or just don't listen. Just mute it, and then I don't know, me while they're talking or anything like that. Is better than
work for Beaker.
Better than freaking Limmel, okay? But otherwise, it's fine.
You're gonna get okay.
Yeah, it's real easy.
What time?
Okay?
What time does it go up tomorrow? Or
7 a.m. or something like that. 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Oh.
I've got it set as a premiere, so if you go to the Geek Cave YouTube channel, which you can find through a link at geekcavepodcast.com, you'll find the premiere page, and it'll
have a web page.
It'll count down. Yeah. So
yeah, it's been newly redesigned for years.
Those are the games that I have completed. I've got a couple more in the chamber for next month because episode 150 is next month. We're really excited about that. Justin, have you recovered?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, in that case, Justin, I noticed that our internet bandwidth has just been out of control lately. It looks like you've been doing a lot on Reddit. What's going on?
Okay, you can't prove that's me.
No, I didn't. Okay, well, you tacitly admitted it just now.
I said no such thing.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, I've been spending some time on Reddit. As you know, I don't get to play many games, but I do have a wide breadth of knowledge that I think is useful to the gaming community. And so I go to Reddit's Ask Games to find questions that I think deserve a definitive answer. In a little segment I like to call
Ask Justin. The Geek Cave Podcast and its associates, including Justin, do not condone the advice given in this segment.
Thank you, Nigel. So, this month's question. Is Immortal Phoenix Rising sandbox? Well, I've never heard of it. But if I had to guess, it's a video game, not a sandbox. A sandbox is traditionally a square or box full of sand. It is a great place for kids to play and dig. Sometimes destroy toys with electronics because the sand gets inside. And then you spend the next 3 hours disassembling the toy, trying to clean it out and repair the damage, only for it not to work. And you have to explain to your child that their beloved Batmobile won't light up anymore because it was full of sand. Anyway, back to you, Darren.
Immortals Phoenix Rising is a sandbox game, just so you know.
It's a video game, not a sandbox. I just said that.
Thank you, Justin.
Welcome.
Have you enjoyed the cover art of any games lately?
Well, one did show up thanks to GameFly, but I have not had a chance to play it because that's how my life goes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I have it.
Okay, well,
And I'll have one for next month.
tell us about it next month, yeah.
I assume it's
Do you
going
know
to...
the name of the title, or do you want to not spoil anything?
Let's not spoil anything, but I
Okay.
assume it's going to be a hoot and or a holler.
Okay.
Because my track record with these has been, mwah, chef's kiss.
I was in the middle of a sip of water with this Immortals Phoenix Rising thing. And
You had to know it was coming.
yeah.
You had to know.
So long. That's one for the longtime fans of the podcast. Join the Discord, everybody. All right. Well, if there's no further business, gentlemen.
It was created by a madman. Ignored and rejected. Every week it grows. We cannot kill it, for it does not live. Step fast and be wary, or you may fall victim to Darren's Pile of Shame.
You know, nostalgia's a funny thing. There are some things. There's some things we haven't seen or heard about for decades, but the mere mention of its name just brings back a wave of memories. Like, example, remember Biker Mice from Mars?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good, wasn't it? It was all right. Remember Brave Star?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Do you remember Tiny Toon Adventures?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right, now I'm getting the response I wanted. Do you remember Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates?
Only
Nope.
because I watched the Geek Cave plays.
Yeah. Now, that's one of those things for me, though. I don't remember much about the show. It only ran for, like, one season. But I remember liking it as kind of an alternative to the Disney version, you know? So, when I was curating my pile of shame list for 2023, dedicated exclusively to titles on the Nintendo Entertainment System in honor of its 40th anniversary, I remembered seeing the box for a game based on Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates at our local Venture store. Anybody remember Venture stores?
No.
Can't say that I do.
Okay, well,
Must have been an Illinois thing.
it's like
Southern
Kmart.
Illinois thing.
It was like a Kmart kind of thing. I never managed to play it until this month, and, much like Venture stores, maybe it's for the best that nobody remembers this one. Let's begin. Developed by THQ.
Oh.
Yeah, those guys. Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates is a side-scrolling platformer during which you fight waves of enemy pirates, random animals, and the controller as you try to gather treasure and defeat Captain Hook. Now, the problem is not only that the controls are absolutely terrible, and they are, so is the music and the visuals.
Can confirm.
And, well, pretty much everything is terrible about this game. Now, Peter can fly, much like in other interpretations of the character. You hold the up arrow on the D-pad after you jump. Just don't be sure to ever let it go or adjust your thumb at all. or even move a little bit to the right, or breathe, because he's going to sink like this show's ratings did if you do.
Wow.
And to make matters worse, in most games from this time period, if you take damage, you'll remember you have a brief moment of invincibility, so you can run past whatever hit you, that kind of... No, not in this case. You just keep getting hit. So if you fall into, I don't know, a bonfire, for example, not only can you not jump or fly out because you're taking damage, but you can't ever stop taking damage long enough to jump or fly out because you're taking damage. And yeah, that's a snake eating its own tail kind of thing. There are some spots that require precise platforming, but it feels like the developers interpreted precision to mean main character handles like there is butter strapped to his feet. And half of the platform's edge is insubstantial anyway, so why bother LOL? Now, you could just fly over everything, but you have to beat a certain number of enemies to move forward. There's a little counter of how many pirates you've killed. And your ability to fly is limited, so you have to keep collecting fairy dust, little bags with F on them, not to be confused with Zelda 2's P bags. And you also need to... Yeah, I know. And you also need to collect treasure chests, because those are somehow your health, because pirates! Now, through the course of this series, we'll see a few games that are known as NES Tough. That's a phrase used for when game companies would artificially make games harder, because Nintendo, geniuses that they are, they were afraid that people would beat their games during a rental period and thus not want to buy them, so they made developers make the games extra hard. This is cataloged, this is documented, this is fact. But in this case, the game is hard not because the developers made it hard, but it's because the developers barely made a game in the first place. And the controls are fundamentally broken. The controls are me in 7th grade. Meanwhile, you know how in a lot of fantasy, including some of the Peter Pan tales, there are mermaids. They have beautiful voices to lure you in, Yeah, this game's soundtrack is the opposite of that. Picture William Hung gargling pop rocks.
She bangs, she bangs.
And then, sitting on a synthesizer. That's pretty much the soundtrack of Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates for the NES. Now, visually, it looks like any early NES platformer. Oh, wait, this came out in 1991. That's 8 years after the NES came out. That's the same year games like Battletoads, Little Mermaid, Batman, Return of the Joker, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 came out.
Oof.
They all look a lot better than this game. Now, this game was obviously made on a budget, probably consisting of bottle caps or tetanus or something. Now, basically, I don't know if you can tell, but I did not have fun this month. Just throwing that out there in case you're...
You're really carrying it well.
Yeah, you can find a Geek Cave Plays video of this, as Chad mentioned. It's on our YouTube channel. You can see it for yourself. In closing, in many live performances of Peter Pan, the audience is encouraged to clap and make noise, keep Tinkerbell from dying after one character said they don't believe in fairies. Well, if this game were in the same situation, I would lock it in a soundproof booth, watch, and wait. Don't be like me.
Did you know that Tim Curry was the voice of Captain Hook in that show?
I did know that Tim Curry was the voice of Captain Hook in that show.
Just trying to, add some niceness to the...
Tim Curry's not in this video game, though.
I wasn't saying... Did you know that they also adapted this into comics, but only in German?
For Justin, Chad, and Kent, I'm Darren. Remember, fairies aren't real! And everyone is a geek for something.